Jeez.
Help yourself to coffee. I made some baked goods. I don't mind if you get up while I'm talking. It won't distract me because everything distracts me. I'm highly distracted.
I'll
Okay,
be honest too.
who here has a doctor? Who here takes somebody to the doctor? Does anybody take medicine? No. Okay. All right. Who has gone to the doctor and
They have
you're
this thing in person.
thing with forms and you're shuffling through your purse or your backpack or whatever, looking for your list of doctors, your list of medications? How many people have walked into the doctor office carrying all your medications in their bag? I've seen that in doctor's offices, and people are sitting there going, well, I take this, let's see, and then they're filling out the forms. And I started this experience with caring for my parents probably 20-some years ago when my mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. I had to start taking her to her appointments. And always the questions were, well, when did you have your last colonoscopy? Oh, I don't know. What medications are you taking? I don't know. Did she? I had no idea. I had just stepped in. So I thought, oh gosh, we need to start streamlining this better and, you know, putting things on paper. And so my husband and I, he was dealing the same thing with his father and mother too. And what I did was, let's see, what's the first thing I started doing? Next slide. That's my assistant. Okay, so now when I go to a doctor, I have a pre-printed form up and I make copies of it, and I have it in a little folder, which I carry with me to the doctor's office. And I have everything written down. And when I'm filling out the form, instead of putting my things down, I say, see attached. And I take my little handy dandy paper and I put it with the forms that I'm filling out, and I'm done. And then even when I have my Medicare the annual physical, they say, what are you taking? Here you go. And the girl always says, oh, thank you so much. This is so easy to go through. Had the same thing, next slide. With my list of doctors, because they always ask, who are your doctors? Who's your dentist? What's your preferred lab? I always write down, see attached. Put that on there and it's done. I don't have to go looking for it. Oh, is that the doctor saying that the cardiologist, or is that the other doctor saying? It's all there. It's printed up nicely. They don't have to read my nasty handwriting or anything like that. Next thing. Okay, at my annual physical. What did you have done this year? Here you go. This is what I had done. Every time I've been to the doctor, the dentist, or had any type of procedure, I write it down on my handy dandy list that I have. And then I just add to it, go into the computer, you know, add to the thing, and it's done. Next slide. Here, you know, current conditions. With a new doctor, and again, what you had done. So you don't have to read all my stuff. Next slide. Okay, who has one of these on their refrigerator or in their refrigerator? Correct. So the little paper they give to you, it's not very good and you have to keep crossing it out. So next slide. This here has everything that a medical personnel coming to your home. I'm sorry, that's hard to see, but Con actually made that up for me. And it's just everything you need, who your emergency contacts are. So again, I just took that, folded it up and stuck it in the little file of life, which the EMT, when we had a little fair here and gave us those file of life, they said, keep it inside the refrigerator in case of a fire, because it wouldn't get burned if you're, you know, it would be inside the refrigerator. So next slide. Okay, And I'm saying if you have any questions about those, feel free. I can email them you a template because I made a whole thing of blank ones. I just blanked everything out just to give you an idea of where to start. And then when I finished all these forms, when I started doing this years ago, I turned them into a PDF file. I emailed them to our kids and said, here you go. Put this on your computer, print it out if you want. And if something happens to us, or when I start losing my memory, and you have to start taking me places, you have all this information. And I also sent it to my 6 siblings because we started getting phone calls, I don't know, years ago. I have a thyroid condition. My brother has a thyroid condition. My sister has a thyroid condition. My doctor wanted to know, when did you get this? When did you get that? Have you ever dealt with this? And when you have 6 siblings, it's hard to remember everybody's medical history. So they have all my files, and some of my siblings sent me some of their stuff. Some are not very organized, but it's very helpful when you're seeing a physician about a condition and they know it's familial, it's genetic, or it's just out of the blue. And then your risk factors too, are you at high risk for a cancer type thing? So I just found that very helpful to do. And then if you really want to get crazy, I have little binders that say blood work. So every time I get my blood work done, I hole punch it and I just stick it in here and I have that. And it's been helpful. I bring this with me too when I go to a new doctor and they want to say, so what is this? Because some of the stuff on the patient portals that we've all been filling out, it would be good if they're all in the same one, like some are through TMC, some are through another thing. And you think like, I already put this in the portal, but they don't have it. So my doctors have been very pleased when they look at this blood work thing. And then I also have all my medical records that I could find. So I actually had a problem with my hip a couple months ago. And the doctor, he said, well, it could be bursitis. And I said, well, I did have a bike crash. And do you want to see that report from 2011? He said, you have it? I said, I sure do. Boom, he read that. He says, oh, okay, I know what that was. So then I organized that by my bone density test, my colonoscopies, my eyes, my mammograms, miscellaneous reports, genetic testing. I put my little CD of x-ray in here, and it's Doug will tell you because he's the binder guy. He started me with the binders, and every doctor we go to are very helpful. I'm thankful for that, aren't they, Doug?
They are.
And it just makes your appointment go better. And I think they're more prepared to talk to you because they think, oh, these people are loaded with barrier. And they kind of share with you more. Like, I don't know, they think you're going to write everything down. And I don't know, I seem to get better service when I'm prepared. So that's all I have to talk about today. Is there anything you have? Yes, Tom.
Liz, a couple of years ago, we had somebody in here. I don't remember who they were from, but they talked about Medicare was supposed to be developing this portal that would be universal.
Right.
That you'd go in one time to Medicare and do everything you've done there. And then every doctor that participated in Medicare would be able to see the records. I've never seen anything else on it. Do you know?
I've never seen it either. And
I think in the future, that's going to be a reality, but I think privacy concerns kind of trump that at that particular point in time. And overall, what Liz has been talking about, the kind of detail that she's presented seems a little bit overwhelming, I think, to all of us. Like, why would I ever do all that, right? Because it seems like a lot of work. It's a lot of work doing it the first time, getting it established. But keeping it up to date, it's just every time you have an appointment, every time you have a little procedure, every time something occurs in your life, you just continue to add to it. And it's really not that big of a deal. But the important thing is I know up until 4 years ago, I really didn't have any personal health conditions. I happened to be I was blessed with very good health. I came down with a chronic kidney disease. I had a number of broken bones. I now have eye problems. I had cataracts. I had to have eye surgery. So that's when I started really getting involved with keeping accurate records. And the kind of level of detail that you can put into these, I think really will increase the level of care that you get overall. In the prescriptions that was had, I know all the medicines I take, but what is the dosage that I'm taking? Especially like in the supplements, you get those big bottles from Costco and I don't know what they are. Once you put it into the system, it's just there. It's kind of amazing. It's just there, and all you do is you change a little level here or there. You go in, you change it once on your form. It's very, very valuable to have all the records in one singular place when you go in for an appointment. I had an appointment with my eye doctor yesterday. I had surgery last week, and they had a new employee portal, brand new employee portal. It took me 20 minutes to fill this thinking portal out on the line. You know, I mean, it really did. It was just detail after detail. But some of the things were, what are your prescriptions? Who are your doctors? And all I did is I said, I'll bring them into the office. And I brought 4 pages into the office and I handed them to the receptionist. And I said, you can update the file. Here they are. And I did that. I had an extra set of copies and I brought them into my appointment and I handed them actually to the doctor so the doctor had them as well. But once you do it, it's done. And then all you're doing is keeping it up to date.
Exactly. It probably took me 2 days to just compile everything that I had to go back and get all the different dates of things and compile all your medicines. And like Doug said, once you do it, it's done. And another thing about the medications, you mentioned medications. Some doctors don't realize the other medications you're on, you might forget. And that was a problem I had with my dad. He would forget what he was taking and the one didn't do well with the other one. But when I started handing him the paper of everything, oh, he's taking that, he can't take that. Because let's face it, as you age, you're not going to remember everything you're taking. Oops, I forgot I am taking the fish oil. And now I find that the fish oil is not good for this. So it's, you know, it's better to just go through your cabinet or wherever you keep your medication and just write them down. Go to the computer on a day when you're not doing anything and just start your list and save it to a file. And then I have a file labeled Liz Health. I have one labeled Doug Health. And I just go in there and I have one folder that says medications, like I said, and then it's just so easy to go in and change it, update it. Yes.
With the that one form.
You want to go back to that slide?
Sure, do you want to go back to that?
Which one?
Aside from keeping
In the file of like,
in your refrigerator,
in your purse or, yeah.
I also just hold it up and put it on my wallet, because if I'm out and about and something happens, then I'll have access to know all the information about me that might be helpful.
Oh, I'm glad you said that about out and about. So who has an iPhone?
Yeah, in the car, yeah, you can do it in any place.
Who has an iPhone? Do you keep your health record up to date on there? So you have the little app called Health with the little heart on it. So in there, you can put it, so if you say I'm in a bike crash, okay? They take my phone out of my back pocket of my bike jersey, and there's a little thing that they can click that says emergency. So that only will open to what I want it to open to. And on that summary I have in there, it will say emergency contact, my husband, secondary, my daughter, any health conditions. It has your blood work, your blood type in there, your weight, your height. So that's all right there for you're in a car accident. They can just open that up and get that information right off your phone if you have it set up that way.
So what is the app?
It comes with your iPhone. It's called Health.
Oh, it's already on
It's
there.
already on there. It's preloaded onto your phone. So it's just a matter of setting up the settings. So it's, if you go to the health checklist, it says medical ID. It says medical ID gives first responders vital information in an emergency. So it has my name, my birth date, how old I am, my medical conditions, my blood type, my weight, my height, my primary language, who to call in emergency. So this is all locked except if they hit that emergency, and I could do it or emergency personnel.
All right.
And I can help you with that afterwards if you'd like.
Yeah.
Is there a Samsung equivalent? There is.
I don't know.
Kathy, did you have a question?
I had a comment about your medicines.
Yeah.
The pharmacists that we've known in Wisconsin encourage people at least twice a year to meet with your pharmacist to go over those lists of medicines that you're taking and supplements, because they're the ones that really know.
Yeah. What's interacting, yeah. Yeah, because some of the cardiologists don't know about what the stomach guy is giving you, and pharmacists are a good resource. Yeah, you should utilize them when you're in there. Ask them all kinds of questions.
Any software anybody uses to help document all their stuff? What do you use, Liz?
Well, I have, you mean my apps and stuff on my phone?
Or even just what you use to.
Well, I just
obviously
use,
document.
yeah, I just use my Pages to set up. I have a Mac, so I use Pages. I don't know what Windows they call that. What do they call it? Microsoft Word. Yeah, you would just go make a new Word file. And I always start with my, name, date of birth, my address.
There's also Google, I forget what Google calls theirs, but that's free as well.
I just use Excel and so that I can sort it if I want to, however I want to sort it.
What do you use?
Excel.
Oh, Excel. Okay.
Let's see, Mac equivalent, I forget.
Numbers.
Numbers.
Doug has a comment.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, if you have all the information on your iPhone that you can share with a medical emergency person, your iPhone might be broken in a car accident, or it may be separated from you in a bicycle accident or something along those lines. There's another company called Road ID, and they offer something that attaches to a watch, or it's just another band that you can wear. And for mine, I have my name, my date of birth, my 2 emergency contacts. I have down the fact that I have this particular kidney disease, that I'm an organ donor, although at this point in my life, I don't think they want my organs. But I also have my blood type in case I needed to get a transfusion or something like that very quickly. So there are other means, along with having that information available for your doctors and having the iPhone, but utilizing something like a Road ID is also a valuable resource in case you're ever in an accident or you fell over here and no one knew who you were. You've got this band that you're always wearing. I wear I have my Apple Watch on all the time. So I'm always, my medical information and the pertinent information about me, that I've got this kidney disease and my blood type, is always available to whoever might discover me laying out here somewhere.
Speaking of on your phone too, I just thought of this too. Okay, you get to the doctor, you forgot all your folders that you printed out. Oh no. So if you go to your files on your iPhone, and I'm sorry, I'm an Apple girl, but in there, anything that you put on the cloud, you can access here. So all my handy dandy little forms are all in here, which I can pull up too, and then copy onto the form or whatever, or tell the doctor. So it's in your phone, you save to your cloud, and then it's right here.
Just remember your cloud ID password.
Well, no, you don't need to sign into that once you're in your phone. You don't need to sign
I
on.
was asking you my password.
No, you shouldn't have to. Yeah. So you should be able to get to all those things right there on your phone. Any other questions? Yes, Marie.
App again was just plain health.
Yes, it has a little pink heart on it.
Okay.
Yes, Kathy.
In the Android one, there's several, but there's one called ICE in case of emergency.
Oh, okay.
Android users, it's ICE in case of emergency, and there's medical information.
If you have your iPhone, bring it up after
Yeah,
the meeting and
we'll
we'll show you. It's
Yeah.
relatively simple to find. Well, we've got a captive audience. I just want to take a little straw poll. Who of you are Mac users?
Mac.
Mac.
Apple.
Apple, Mac. If I say Mac, you usually know it. And how many are PC, Samsung, Android?
Just say real computer.
Real problematic computers.
Computers let you decide whether you want to update.
Yeah, those kind of make you think, and still, I'm getting lazy in my old age. I'm going to Mac.
Hey, I have mine set up on manual updates, my Mac. I have
a desktop that's Microsoft and a Mac and a iPad.
I'm the same way. Desk, office, PC, mobile, out on the road, Mac. And trying to get the two to agree with each other is kind of a challenge. What's a topic you would like to see taught on in Tech Club? Not all at once. I can only write so fast. Tom.
Kim, I know we did it once before. We had a doctor come in, a cardiologist, if I remember correctly. He talked about using technology to monitor your heart. I know there's a couple people in Sunfire that walk around with those monitors. Tom Shambo has one. He gets a call every once in a while because they think he died. So apparently it's not perfect, but those type of carry devices for, you can do an EKG now on your phone, those kind of things, and how that works with your doctor's office is always fascinating to me. And sometimes hearing from the horse's mouth, I know it's hard to get them to come in, but hearing from the medical profession what they, what benefits there are to that can be really good for us.
Effie was just talking about her husband's heart rate, his pulse rate. And she said, oh, I wonder what yours is, because I was talking about how hyper I am. So I was like, oh, I'll tell you what it is right now, because on my watch, my Apple Watch, I can take my pulse rate at any time I want. And it's constantly monitoring it. So I just go like this and I say, oh, my resting heart rate is this. And then the whole time I'm exercising too, it's getting my heart rate.
And I bet there's an app to share that with your doctor.
Sure. Yeah, I have a pretty low tech Apple Watch. It's
Yeah.
pretty old. So the ones they're coming out with, they had crash
The one
detector.
Doug's getting you for Christmas.
Yeah.
Right.
But we just had a friend who has a pacemaker, and the report was sent to his doctor. He was out mountain biking. He thought it was something with his heart, but it was actually the pacemaker had gone bad. But
One of our personnel here, I won't mention his name, has a pacemaker. And the battery has been in there 8 years and the battery started going low. Well, he's a young guy.
Yeah.
He didn't notice it, but it sent a message to his doctor that, hey, the battery's going low.
Yeah.
He went in and got a new pacemaker.
That's always a debate in technology, the invasion of privacy and the collection of data, but they are, through the health apps, collecting a ton of data that may help us as humans down the road, just what works and what doesn't.
One of the simple things I would like to have, I guess it's simple, but I don't know how to do it, is how to download pictures from my iPhone to my computer. I know it's easy, it has to be easy. There's some other things that are easy. I determined to learn how to run a computer, operate a computer when it came out at first, because my husband was a computer person. But the thing is, everything has changed. And I can't keep up with the changes.
Do you have a desktop or a laptop?
I have a desktop. Oh, no, I have a laptop.
And what's your laptop?
Macintosh.
It is an NV.
Oh, okay, so it's not a Mac.
No. I have the Mac phone, but I have.
Yeah, because I have all Macs, so when you put something on your phone, it automatically goes.
I'm not sure I can handle a new Mac.
How about you?
There are ways to synchronize
Yes,
two PCs, it's just not nearly as simple.
but these are great questions, and that's why
They are.
you need to come to the tech club.
I would also like to say that Tim and Vinky and the rest of us on the board are also working on starting up the Sunday device help. It'll start in November, it'll be the first and third Sunday of the month, and you'll get notice about that. Where we have, we're honored to have honor society students from Marana High School. So you can bring in your device and, get some help from they call them digital natives, the young ones who just instantly know how to do these things. I had some tentative ideas, maybe since we're doing a survey, you could let me know if these interest you. I've been working with someone at Breakmax to see if we can come in and talk about automotive technology. Could you raise your hand if that's an interest for you? And also, I was going to talk about using tables. That's how I read that thing, because I find it much, much easier to use than Excel. Because unless you're doing calculations, using Microsoft Word tables is so easy. I organize everything that way. Is that something that would interest people?
Sure.
And along with that, I've created a tax planner that you can use and other tables that I'll share as templates that you can use. Yeah.
The only thing with auto
I got it,
technology,
okay.
and I'm a certified engineer. If we get someone on auto technology, anytime she'll get when you go in and says service engine, you'll get a number, okay? That number will say, oh, this sensor's bad. Well, that can or cannot be true. So what I think we need is someone that could tell us on automotive technology. It's not a 4242 which says sensor's bad. It's 4242 which says sensor's not getting a harness. The harness has been changed because General Motors has changed it. Or Mercedes or whatever you ladies. I know you ride a bike to this place, and Doug, so do you, so they might have something for those too. But that's what we need to get to. We don't need them to come in and just tell us, well, these codes are coming out, go to your dealer, and what the code really means, because I just spent $1,000 and my light still comes on.
We know what you do for that, Doug?
I shot it.
No. My brother-in-law had this check engine light on for, I think, 5 years, and he took it to 5 different places, and they couldn't find what the problem was.
I solved the problem.
Yeah, put a piece of black tape over it, and you didn't see it again, and it wasn't a problem. And, but go ahead, Doug.
There's another way to do it, and it's very nice. You go and get one of these additives, and you pour it in your tank, and it cleans the sensor probe at the end. I do it on my Cadillac all the time. It costs me exactly $8.95 for 1,000 miles to put in, and brings my gas mileage up from 28 to 30. Okay, so I actually pick up the money from gas savings. This is the kind of technology we need on automotive anymore, because at 100,000 miles, it's a thing called planned obsolescence.
Yeah.
And these lights come on for a reason.
Would you guys be interested in been hearing about electric vehicles?
Yeah. I think so.
Because Doug offered to do a talk one. He's like, oh, thanks, Liz. Anyway, we got a Tesla last year, so Doug is very, very, he read, well, it took a year to get the Tesla, placed the order. And so he started, reading everything he could. He read the entire book, and it was like this thick. He reads every word of the CC&Rs and every word. Anyway, he's watched every YouTube about Teslas and electric vehicles and batteries. So, it's going to be the way of the future for a lot of people. And he can tell you why he wanted to go electric. If you'd like to share that, Doug.
Thank you, Doug. And along with that, now there's, I think, hydrogen fuel cells, so that we don't have to use up all the electricity. But I also want to say, we invite any of you that have an expertise in something. We would like you to share that, just like Liz did today. So we don't need to go outside of there. If you have something you'd like to share, let us know.
Yes, bring it on.
Perhaps automated technology, there's someone here in our midst that could.
Maybe you should share.
I actually have two comments. First of all, I'm brand new here. I've just always read about the tech club and thought, until there was a big write-up in the Suncatcher this month. And that's what drew me here, because it was detailed. And thought, oh, that's my first comment. My second comment is, I'm like in kindergarten and you guys have your PhDs. I don't even know what some of the words you're saying means. So maybe that's what brought me here, is because I'm a real newbie. But maybe that's how you appeal to new people, is really bring it down. I'm definitely interested in that Sunday group. But you had real specific points about how you can help someone. And I thought that was very helpful, informative.
This in the Suncatcher.
Yes.
Welcome to the Nerd Club.
I wouldn't call it the nerd club. Thank Liz wrote that article and it was very good. I was a little burnt out on the creativity, so I'd say.
Well,
It
that's
takes-
another thing. The Suncatcher, to be honest with you, can be very stale. A lot of the articles they're not current. I mean, some of the tickets have already been sold, so it's like, why are we talking about this when you can't get in? And, you have to get them by the 12th of the month, and so, there's this lag. So that's another thing, put on your thinking caps and think, how can we improve how we do the Suncatcher to make it a little fresher, because I've talked to people, I was like, well, it was in the Suncatcher. Oh, I didn't read that. I don't read it anymore because it's always the same stuff. So.
The biggest challenge with Suncatcher, try to write something that's going to happen in a month and a half.
Yeah.
It's really old technology. And as a club, we can help the community move forward with their technology as well. We had, I believe when Einstein was working at the patent office, the great debate was, why do we have a patent office? Everything that's been invented has been invented. I mean, that really literally was a column in a newspaper at that time. And we actually had that discussion during COVID. Should we even keep the tech club? Tech club is always going to be relevant because we're always changing. It may not be a computer and it may not be a hard drive. It's now the cloud. It may be this or that, but it will always be relevant. If you teach, you'll learn better than you will anything else. Step out. If I can do it, anybody can, believe me, because I'm not comfortable up here. It's not my thing. But you can do it. You've got friends. My first meeting, I came in and one of my neighbors just said, I am so nervous. And she said, you're among friends. And we are here at Sunflower. Reach out, grow a little, find your topic, teach it to everybody else. It is hard to keep the interest of the person who's up here and the person who's just having trouble firing up their phone. The help sessions are the greatest place. There is no one there that we should all be there because we either need help or we are at a level where we can give help.
Yeah, I have something to say about that. I've helped this one gentleman twice now, and he wanted to talk one day about YouTube. Well, I don't know anything about YouTube, to tell you the truth, but I met him up here and it was the best thing for me because guess what? I learned how to do it because I'm a great Googler. And I find that if you just Google whatever you want to know, just say, how do I do this? You find an answer. And I was able to help with YouTube. And I feel like I learned a lot that day because now I know how to do more on YouTube and setting up subscriptions and accounts and things like that. So I think the one-on-one sessions are great.
They are. They are. I was intimidated. I didn't think I knew enough to help. First tech session I went to, I realized early on, you'll spend 40 to 50% of the time just password and account name, log on. Once you get that, the problem is usually not that hard to fix. Any other? And Tom can speak to this because since I've been here, it hasn't happened. The tech club had a fair. Can you just tell us what that was about? And I'd like to know if you guys want to try that.
Yeah, we got the idea that technology is more than just a computer in front of us or even your smartphone. So we covered things like TVs and how to do an antenna. We had setups in here of different antennas you could use and how to cut the cord and all that type of thing. We probably had 15 to 18 displays set up, and the community loved it. I mean, they really did. We actually, at one point in time, had Apple semi-interested in displaying here. It never worked out, but they at least were talking to us about it. And so it let the community see what we as a club kind of saw on a regular basis, the changing technology. That computers were becoming less and less popular, and the phones and the tablets were taking their place. And now we're starting to look at people getting implanted with chips and stuff to take the place of that. So, I think it's a way, and plus, it really helped us recruit members. People would come in and go, "Oh, I thought you all were just a nerd club that dealt with computers." And I see that you're talking about ways to cut the cord and to get TV reception in a different manner and smart cards. We actually had a display on all the blind spot warning and all this. You can't go buy a new car and drive off the lot anymore. You have to sit through an hour-long class of how all this stuff works, or the car will be beeping at you the whole way home. And so, somebody made a comment, technology changes constantly. And our relationship with the community can be really enhanced by doing something like that. And I bet we had 400 people come through. It was amazing. We did it for a couple of years in a row. So those types of things, again, I think it keeps the club relevant. It's fun to do. I mean, we had fun doing it. And I think that the community sees it as a benefit to the community, which is, the community did the tech club a big favor this year. I don't know if everybody knows about it. We were paying $125 a month for internet access. The community let us tie into the open port on their building, and now we pay nothing for internet access. So that's $1,400 a year that the community saved us. So the more we can give back, it's a quid pro quo system. So
Awesome.
I have another problem. I have lots of.
I'm not moving. You're going to be my neighbor.
I have some void. I know you didn't have time to help me, so okay, anyway, I have Outlook.
Just write it for
And Microsoft has two locations for me with Microsoft Mail, because they asked me for a second,
See help.
Secondary address?
Address. And I gave it to them because they made it like it was substitute in case. And now I have 2 mails coming in and it just messes me up all the time. And I have not been able to find somebody who knows how to get me separated.
So you said you do have a laptop?
Yes.
So you need to bring it the next time you come to a meeting or to one of the Sunday help sessions. And that would be a very easy thing to fix.
The thing I found about Sunday help sessions is there's so many people there and it's hard to get someone to deal with.
Well, I'd be willing to work with you on it another day. It doesn't have to
Okay,
be
I
Sunday.
appreciate
Yeah,
that.
but I mean, I'm not an expert on PCs. Somebody else might be. I don't know.
Part of my problem is that my son had me on his account. He lives here in Continental Ranch. He lived here in Continental Ranch. And he passed away suddenly
Oh,
in
sorry.
January. And we got some relative came in and helped us, my daughter-in-law out with a lot of problems. But he worked for IBM and he was up there someplace else. And so I don't know how to get myself straightened out.
But at least you're trying.
I'm trying.
Yes.
It's a never-ending battle, no matter what the age or the skill level, for sure.
Sure.
But technology is coming and we're all gonna have to use it in new ways. You know, a lot of people are uncomfortable using their credit cards online, you know, paying bills online but before you know it, there's not gonna be a place where you can go with a check or, you know, they're gonna know you have to pay this online. And I noticed Medicare was doing something, changing how you pay your bill there. So.
I just wanted to jump back to what Tim said about testimonials. I am putting together in the PowerPoint. If you wouldn't mind writing down my email, it's very simple. Katta, KATTA, mapes, MAPES@gmail.com. And send that to me so we can include that because that's really helpful to show that there is a lot going on with the Tech Club. And so that'll be part of our membership drive to Club Expo.
Could you repeat your email?
KATTA.MAPES@gmail.com. MAPES, it runs with grapes. That's what I told you. MAPES. Got it.
And if anybody wants any of these medical templates, you know, I can email it to you. Just sign here and I'll email you everything that I made up.
Thank you.
Yes.
Another thing I'd like to learn more, make it more smooth, is with Google making all these changes. And you can do this and do that. When do you do it? Why do you do it?
I agree.
Google's fascinating on about every level, from business to technology to what they really control in their life.
They want to control everything.
And they're close. They're close.
Every
Right.
time I sign into my Nest and I want to do something, they say, do you want to integrate this with Google? No, I don't.
Google what next?
I know, and they want all your information. I was like, no, I don't want to share this with you. And I just X out of there, but they ask you every time I hit my Nest app, which I use when Doug and I are thermostat word people. And he asks Alexa to always put the temperature higher. And I'm always, then I go to the app and then I lower it secretly. Because we fight over there.
I've been there.
One thing I can tell you, and I'm sure Tom can too, volunteers, people that help is always an issue. If any of you just have an hour a week that you want to spend, we'll find something to do. I'm going to turn it over to Larry. Larry is now the vice president. He's also the head of the tech team. So if he has any needs, I'm going to give him an opportunity to.
Well, we always have needs.
For sure.
We always need help, and so anybody who is willing to volunteer. I've run into that here since I've been here 4 years, and I'm on several different clubs now, and it seems like that's the biggest thing, is trying to get volunteers into the different clubs and the different committees, because it's, I mean, the same, that's one thing I've noticed, it's the same people everywhere we go. And it would be nice to get some new people involved.
New blood.
Can you tell them what the tech team does?
Well, the tech team, primarily what we do is we maintain the lab. And so I'm learning a lot about that right now. I was handed a big, thick notebook of information that I've been going through, trying to find out where everything's located, what our inventory of software, hardware, and all that is. But the main thing we do is we keep the computers up to date, we keep the printers and everything stocked so that you can print out whatever you want when you come over here. One of the things I wanted to look at for us too is to maybe come up with a fax machine. Old technology, but I have run into so many times that, especially with doctors, they want it faxed. So they're horrible that way. I remember where I used to work for a utility, we pushed to get everybody off their fax machines, do electronic fax if nothing else, but that costs money. So if we could get a fax machine or even get a fax account here that we could set up, that we could use, that would be great. So anyway, we're looking into that.
Do we even know if there's a landline in the tech room?
Probably not.
I don't know whether it's active or not. I mean, there's outlets in there. I thought one of our was a multi-function printer.
Yeah, but for fax, you still need a landline.
Yeah,
Or we could set up some internet.
yeah, we have to set up the, we have to set up the internet account to do.
For no cost.
Yeah.
Use that.
The office charges $1 a sheet for your fax, I found out yesterday.
Well, if you're a tech club member, that would be part of the benefit. So we are trying to get that benefit list back up. When we combined with the HOA, we kind of lost our advantage as far as our reach and our speed. So we don't quite have that advantage anymore. We need to make up for it. There are coffee and cookies over here. We're going to get real informal here. So
Yeah, help yourself.
help yourself.
I'm kind of a newbie also, but well, I've been in the club for 4 years since I got here, but I just use your computers and do all this stuff. Well, I think your list that you were talking about, things that you have, not very many people know. And not very many people are aware of, like myself. I go in there, I do my stock market, I do this, I do that, do communications, but all the benefits that you have, you're keeping a secret.
Yeah, I said that at our last meeting. A lot of people aren't aware. They think we're just
We're
having.
brother and sister, don't worry about it.
It's amazing to me how few people read the sun catcher. And the communicator,
I think
it's almost become the replacement, and it's getting so long, I don't always get through it before I move on, because we live a fast-paced life, even in retirement anymore. So it's a challenge. Ideas, thoughts, bring them. It is just, I can't tell you how grateful I am that we finally have people stepping up, because I tell you, a month and a half ago, I thought we were done. I really did. So thank you.
Larry's been a little modest too.
Larry's being very modest.
The tech team has for years now supported the board of directors by running that Zoom system in every single board meeting, without much fanfare. We don't get a lot of recognition for it. But Larry and Tim have stepped up, and Harry too, he's not here.
Harry's probably the most unsung member of the tech team. He's probably down here at least, well, every other day, if not every day, checking on the paper toner. Just goes about it, just even Steven, didn't matter. COVID didn't affect nothing. He just gets it done. So thank you for coming.
One last comment. Speaking of technology and your need for a secretary, is there any way you could just record meetings or use Zoom and copy that, put that in as your meeting minutes? I mean, instead of having somebody, write it down, have to type it, blah, blah, blah.
Practically, that's what's been happening. Now that we are actually having board meetings again in person in the conference room, we just need a little note taking there. That's really, it's a pretty light job. Are you volunteering?
No, I'm already on the finance committee secretary, so I just thought that, there's more detail and meat in the finance committee, and I just thought, I don't know. See, if you're having it done that way, then why would you need somebody to supplement?
Jenny and I were the board for the last year and a half, and she's a snowbirder, so a lot of times it was me and my officer and hers, and we zoomed it, and those are the minutes that are up in the cloud. It's a little harder when we do have a 5-6 person board meeting in the conference room.
The newbie speaking. Now, you all know each other. I don't know Larry's last name. I don't know Tim's last name. You talked about Harry. I don't know who these people are. So don't presume anything.
I agree. One thing, I've gotten to know the community better through joining the tech club than anything else. I mean, I've been in other things. It's really helped me learn the community and develop relationship. The sunflowerliving.com websites are kind of not where we go a lot, but there is a lot of information there. And if you click on the clubs and you go, you will see the boards, and you'll actually see the archive boards. Yes. Okay.
And that's Tim Walter, by the way.
And I'm Tim Walter, very tired.
Do you want to go
Very
around and
swinging.
introduce ourselves?
I think that would be, and one thing that's come up in the board meeting, would you like a photograph directory, a picture directory of members?
Yes.
The board has always done it. I think it's a great idea. I'm terrible with names, but I remember faces usually, so.
You know what Doug does? Every time we go to a church function, he takes people's pictures. And then he puts.
Then I ask Liz who they are.
And then he says, who's this? Who's this? Because I'm good at remembering names and faces, and he's terrible. And he always said at church, everybody should walk around with a name tag.
I agree.
Because we would be greeters for 20 years, and he'd go, this is a guy coming up. And I was like, oh my gosh, you ask me that every week.
Well, thanks for coming, hang around, like I say, learn and teach.
Wait, can we just introduce Sandy as, just introduce
Oh,
each
yeah,
other?
let's take it around and go ahead and start. Or go, no, keep that.
Jerry Ashenfelter.
Really?
You might also add if there's a particular technology thing that you want to know more about or that you would share.
Tim Walter.
Ken Mitchell.
Kathy Mitchell. Marie Van Hus. Marilyn Matthew.
Joe Smith.
Larry Shire.
I'm Liz's husband, Doug Curry, and I guess I'd share about EV vehicles.
You got volunteered.
Abby Scrum.
Tom Allen.
June Gibble.
Mary Deeds.
Pat Robinson.
Doug McDowell, member.
Marlene Spencer. Sandy Milton. Sorry.
Thank you all. Thanks for coming, and please eat something. I don't want to bring this stuff home with me because I'll eat it. Thank you for coming. And Tim, sorry I made you talk because you said I had 50 minutes to talk. And I probably talked 10.
About 20.
Sorry about that.
I found the heart.
You got the key right. Halfway there. So there are more